Hi everybody!
Hello.
Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club, the show that Mel quit an hour ago, and we're doing it anyway.
I got roped back into it somehow. I'm done. This is the last one, Mike.
We'll see. I'm Mike.
I'm tired.
And, this show didn't really have a lot of a theme song, but it had a little bit of something of one, so play that!
行くぞみんなそうはい
What is this weeb garbage, Mike?
We watched
What are you making me watch?
Persona5, the animation, The Daybreakers.
Uh-oh.
And the opening was a short clip of the instrumental version of the song Life Will Change from the game. Actually, every piece of music in this whole special is taken directly from the game, which I really liked, because the game has an amazing soundtrack.
I thought so. It sounded very Persona.
Yeah. So, Persona 5 was released in 2016 for both the PS3 and PS4. And it was made by Atlus's Creative Department's second production studio, also known as P Studio.
P Studio!
Apparently, P Studio was opened in 2006 during the development of Persona 3, specifically to develop and oversee the Persona series moving forward.
So that's what the P stands for?
Yeah. So the first studio could focus back on Megami Tensei, as Persona was overtaking Megami Tensei in popularity. I guess they were like, we don't want to only be making Persona, we better make a separate studio for this. But apparently P Studio did also develop Catherine, which I still haven't played.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember if I have that. I might.
I know I have it, but I haven't played it. The game was originally self-published by Atlus, but Royal was published by Sega, who now own Atlus. So this does feel like so for anybody, I know we always talk about our experience with the series. I'm actually like a brand new fresh-faced baby Persona fan. I'm playing Persona 5 on stream right now, which is my first experience with, I think, any Atlus game. And I love it. This has quickly become one of my favorite games that I've ever played.
Ever.
You have played Persona 4, right?
Yeah, but I didn't get very far into it.
Is that the only one you've played?
Yeah.
Okay. You should get further into it. I think you'd love this series.
I did like it. I didn't stop because I wasn't enjoying it. I stopped because I think partly just I was playing a lot of games at the time and it kind of fell by the wayside.
Right.
And part of it was just the perfectionism where it's like, this is my first playthrough and I know I'm not going to do everything right and it's killing me.
Oh yeah, I have accepted that. I think like knowing that I'm going to be able to do a new game plus and like keep a lot of the stats I have now to go back into it has been very, very freeing with this game. Because early on in a conversation I was having with Igor, there was one choice that I tried to make and I wasn't allowed to. And it was like, you need your boldness or whatever you need your guts to be a certain level to be allowed to pick this choice.
You're not bold and brash enough.
I was like, what do you mean? It's literally impossible for me to have raised my guts that high at this point. And then someone in the chat was like, yeah, but when you do a new game plus, you can choose it. And I was like, oh, I see. This game's designed for me to want to play it again. And I do want to play it again already. I haven't even finished it yet, and I already know I'm doing.
You need to sink 1,000 hours minimum into that game before you can consider it truly beaten.
Yeah, I think I'm already at about 110 hours, and I'm like scratching the surface of the stuff I want to do in this game. So, yeah, I'm a fan now. I already own Persona 4 as well, which I'm sure I'll play once I'm done with 5. I'm gonna play them in reverse order, I think. I'm sure that makes sense.
You know, I think I was playing this at the same time that I was playing Terraria with my roommate, and that just kind of took over my life yet again. As it always does every time I open that wormhole.
Yeah. So, the Persona series is a spin-off of the Megami Tensei series, which started its life on the Famicom in 1987.
Wow, I always forget it's that stinking old.
I know. Well, it was Japan only up until Shin Megami Tensei 3, which was actually the 8th release in the series. And that was in 2006. So it had already been around for like 20 years before America got its first.
Got our grubby mitts on it.
Oh, well, that was the first RPG to get released in the West. But actually, the first Megami Tensei series game released in the West was Jack Bros.
What is that?
It's a maze game spin-off starring Jack Frost and a couple other Jack-named demons.
Okay.
But, yeah, I had never heard of it, and then I looked it up, and I was like, why are all the screenshots red? It's a Virtual Boy game, so that's why.
Wow. Ancient.
Yeah. I have never played a Virtual Boy game.
No, me neither.
Megami Tensei was originally an adaptation of Digital Devil Story, a science fiction novel trilogy by Aya Nishitani.
Oh.
I did not know that.
Me neither.
Apparently, Nishitani was involved in the games up until around 1995, but he doesn't seem to be involved with them anymore. But according to him, the idea for the demon summoning program, which is what the Megami Tensei games are all about, came from his interest in astrology as when he was a kid. And his interest in astrology led to him learning about Western black magic.
Okay.
And then he thought the idea of practicing black magic on a PC would be interesting. So
we made a witch.
yeah, basically. The 5th game in the Megami Tensei series was called Shin Megami Tensei If. And it was set in a high school. And that was very well received by fans. So much so that they felt like that's what they needed to do moving forward. But they didn't want to move the entire Megami Tensei series into high schools. So instead, they started a sub-series called Persona, which is set entirely around high school settings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Persona is. It's the teen-focused branch of the Megami Tensei series.
Cool.
The first Persona game came out in 1996, and it was released in the US. It was actually... No, this was the first Megami Tensei-related RPG to be released in English. But this was before any actual Megami Tensei games got released in English. So it's called Revelations Persona in the West. And it's heavily altered. Like, they changed characters. They did like an Ace Attorney.
Eat your hamburgers, Apollo.
Yeah. They wanted us to think it was set in America, so they changed a lot of the characters. Some of them got race swapped.
Cool.
Apparently there's like an entire storyline that was taken out. So I was reading about the plot, and you like play to a certain point, and then you choose 2 branches. And in the English version, one of those branches was cut off entirely. Like, you just can't make that choice anymore. And apparently, even if you use cheating devices to go down that path, that entire part of the game hasn't been translated.
Why?
I couldn't find an actual reason. A lot of the edits made to the game seem to be down to a fear that the West wouldn't accept, because the Persona series and the Megami Tensei series go into a lot of dark places and explore a lot of like religious stuff as well.
Right.
So I think a lot of it was about trying to avoid that because they were afraid that the West wouldn't accept it.
The shadow of the Hays Code hangs over the West.
Yeah. It sounds like from Persona 2 onwards, Atlas decided to just translate them faithfully. Because, I mean, I can't even imagine them trying to localize Persona 5 to, like, hide the fact that it's Japan. The entire game takes place in, like, recognizable Tokyo.
That's not Tokyo Tower, they're in Paris, idiot.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think a lot of it was just down to the fact that the localization team was very small and there was a lot of text to change. So maybe they just cut that entire story to lessen the load and make it possible to meet the release date.
Right.
Who knows? But anyway, Persona 5, the one we're actually talking about today, is an RPG slash social simulation game set in inner city Tokyo. It's the 20th anniversary title of the Persona series, so it brought back a lot of elements from older games, including the negotiation system that was dropped after Persona 2.
Negotiation system?
Yeah, during fights, if you manage to knock all the enemies down, you can negotiate with them. You can either get them to give you money or give you an item or join your team.
Oh.
And it is interesting. I have been very surprised by how robust the negotiation system is. Because if you're trying to talk them into joining your team, you really have to figure out what they want to hear. And I keep thinking it's just going to be like, if one piece of dialogue comes up, I'm like, all right, I already know what the answer to this one is. But it won't necessarily be the same. You have to figure it out based on their personality and stuff. It's interesting. It's an interesting system. I like it. But yeah, apparently Persona 5 is the most successful game of the entire Megami Tensei series.
That checks out.
And it's often cited as one of the greatest video games of all time.
I feel like pre-5 Persona was still pretty niche, and then everybody played 5 because it was one of the best games out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm coming to it very late, but I sort of learned about it through Smash Brothers. And, you know, when a series gets into Smash Brothers, I pay attention.
It's the only thing that gets you to pay attention.
Hey, there's a lot of series I love now that I only know about because of Smash Brothers.
What a loser. What a nerd.
Like Earthbound, one of my favorite games. I only know it exists because Ness was in Smash Brothers. And so do you. Don't deny it.
I saw Ness at the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Did you? How was? Did he look good?
Yeah.
God, he's got to be in his 40s now.
Aren't we all?
Is he still dressed like that?
Of course. How do you think I knew it was Ness?
Good point. So this is Persona 5 the animation The Daybreakers, which was produced to advertise the game. It aired on Tokyo MX on September 3rd, 2016, which was about 2 weeks before the game came out.
Whoa. So is this like a full series, or is it like a limited series?
No, this is a one-off. This is a one-off special to promote the game. They did make a full series a couple years after this, though. And that's actually what I was going to have us watch until I found out about this. A lot of people consider this to be episode 0 of the series. But this one never got dubbed as far as I can tell. Everything else has been dubbed, but there's no dub for this that I could find.
That's okay, it's subbed.
Yeah, and it got an official subbed release. You can buy it on Blu-ray here in the UK, but it's only subbed.
That's fine.
It was produced by A1 Pictures, who also made the Ace Attorney anime. And they did the animated cutscenes for Persona 4 and Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. It doesn't look like they did the animated cutscenes for Persona 5, though.
That's weird.
They just did this. It's written by Shinichi Inozume, who went on to write the actual Persona 5 anime as well. Also wrote for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Spy Classroom, among other things.
I know people like those.
Yeah, me too. I've never seen either of them, though.
No?
This whole special was really interesting to me because it's an adaptation of a side quest that mostly happens off-screen in the game.
Okay.
It's a side quest called Phantom Thieves versus Burglary Ring.
Burglary?
Burglary, that's what I meant. Phantom Thieves versus Burglary Ring. And yeah, it happens in between the second and third main story dungeons in the game. I think what they were trying to do is they wanted to make something to like entice people to play the game that would give you a taste of what's happening in the game, but is also unimportant enough to the main story that it won't give you any real spoilers.
Right.
And I think this was a smart idea.
It also tells you more about a quest you said happens off screen largely.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I think it must have been planned. Like, obviously it was planned, but like the conclusion to this quest, I don't think happens in the game. So you would have to watch this to like get the full closure on the quest, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not important enough that you really like. I had kind of forgotten about it by the time I watched this, but at the time when I played it, I was like, "Huh, that didn't really feel like it closed out fully." But oh well, it's just a side quest.
You gotta do your homework if you want to see how this side quest ends.
Yeah, but then it turns out the emotional conclusion to this side quest happens in this short. So, so the first thing we see is the Shibuya Scramble Crossing.
Yeah, I've been there. Not in real life, but I've been there.
I've been there too, in Persona 5.
No, I've been there in Chaos Head.
Yeah? You've been there in a few games, haven't you?
Probably.
Yeah, there's probably more games. I'm trying to think if there's a... I know I've seen it in Digimon as well, in the show, but there's got to be another game where I've crossed that crossing. So we're at the Shibuya Scramble. One of the giant screens is showing a news report where the host is questioning the existence of the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. Then we see a group of burglars in a cafe being freaked out by a cat, and one of them turns to another and asks him to hurry up opening the cash register, but the guy at the register is frozen in place because sitting on the register is a calling card from the Phantom Thieves addressed to him.
Oh no!
And in the subway, there's a group of teens wearing school uniforms talking about how many criminals there are in the city, but they have a plan to do something about it.
They talk a lot about the fact that they're the Phantom Thieves in large groups of people, and yet nobody knows that they are the Phantom Thieves.
Okay, this is kind of addressed in the game, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but yeah, they do that. The leader of the thieves takes out his phone and opens a strange app. And then as a train passes by, they're blocked from our view for a second. And when the train's gone...
We're in Silent Hill.
Yeah, they're wearing new outfits and they're standing on an empty, distorted train platform. And everything's weird now. They're in Mementos. So I actually don't know if Mementos is a thing in any of the other games in the series or if it's just a Persona 5 thing. But Mementos represents the collective unconscious of the people of Tokyo, basically.
Okay.
And it's the Tokyo subway system, but weird and distorted. And it's where everyone's unconscious selves are hanging out, basically.
So everybody spends so much time on the Tokyo subway that it's consuming their subconscious?
Yes, everyone spends so much time on the Tokyo subway that the collective unconscious looks like the Tokyo subway. That is canon. That's the reason for it. So we have here our Phantom Thieves. Joker is the leader. He's played by Jun Fukuyama, who was the voice of Roy in Fire Emblem.
Oh boy.
Or I actually know him as the voice of Roy in Smash Brothers, but he's continued being the voice of Roy in the actual Fire Emblem games as well. He also played Johnny Sasaki in Metal Gear Solid 4. That's the guy who shits himself a lot.
I was not aware that was a feature of the game.
Oh, you don't know about Johnny Sasaki?
No.
Yeah, he's in every Metal Gear game with diarrhea. He's a running joke. He's the guy who has to rush to the bathroom all the time. But in Metal Gear Solid 4, which is the only game where this guy plays him, they sort of like... We had never seen his face before in any of the other games because he was always wearing like a mask because he's one of the enemy soldiers. But in Metal Gear Solid 4, he becomes your ally and they reveal his face and he's like this beautiful, pretty boy man and he ends up marrying Meryl.
And he shits himself the whole time?
Yeah, well, it's revealed in the fourth game that he shits himself because of a glitch in his nano machine. So, yeah.
Otherwise known as IBS.
Yeah, it's caused by nanomachines, everybody. Get your nanomachines checked. He also played the Onion Knight in the Dissidia Final Fantasy games. And Koro Sensei in Assassination Classroom. Yumichika in Bleach. Lilouch in Code Geass. I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of those right. And some that we're more familiar with. Well, I don't know this first one, but you probably do. He was Teru Teru in Danganronpa.
Oh, okay.
And he also played Hao in Pokemon, the Sun and Moon rival.
Yeah, I know who he is. I just never watched the anime.
Okay, you were just silent.
I didn't really care about Hao. He's fine.
I liked Hao.
I didn't dislike him.
I really liked his battle theme because it reminded me of Mario Kart Double Dash for some reason. Next, we have the blonde, Ryuji Sakamoto, also known as Skull. They all have code names, by the way.
Yeah, I figured that part out when they said their code names.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, they each have a code name as well as a real name, except for the main character who doesn't have a real name in this.
That's just the Jokler.
Yeah, that's just the Joker. Ryuji is played by Mamoru Miyano, and he is probably best known for being the voice of Light in Death Note.
Oh.
He also played Riku in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh.
Rintaro in Steins Gate. You know that one?
I haven't read Steins Gate yet.
Okay, I couldn't remember which one. You've read something in that series, right?
Chaos Head.
That's the one. Okay, I couldn't remember which one it was. Apparently, he's the current voice of Kinnikuman.
Okay.
That's Ultimate Muscle for people who know the old 4Kids version. He played Amai Mask in One Punch Man, and he was Dent in Pokemon. That's Silan for us. Or Silen if you pronounce it strange.
If you pronounce it dumb.
Yeah, that's how the English version of the anime pronounces it. Silen. It's clearly Silan. It's short for cilantro.
It's cilantro.
Dummies.
Cress, Ceylon, and what's the last one?
The fire one is chili, I think.
I don't know. I didn't care for those guys or their stupid monkeys.
I liked them. But Ceylon was my least favorite of the three, and he's the one that became the most important in the anime. So. Then we've got the girl in the team, the only girl at the moment, but I think they end up having an equal number of boys and girls in the team eventually. But at this point in the story, the only girl is Ann Takamaki, also known as Panther. She is played by Nana Mizuki, who we've talked about before, because she was the voice of Lucy Liberty in the F-Zero anime.
That rings a vague bell.
Lucy Liberty was an anime-exclusive character, and she only showed up in the last episode we watched, where she was just, like, at the cafe that the guy's staying at.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at her now.
Yeah. She only had a brief appearance so far, I think. Oh, wait, didn't the last episode end with her joining the team or something? I can't remember.
You think I remember that show? It's been like a year and a half.
I know, we need to watch it again. We've also got Yusuke Kitagawa, also known as Fox. He is played by Tomokazu Sugita, who is the voice of Chrom from Fire Emblem.
Oh.
He also plays Kazuhira Miller in Metal Gear, and Tadaomi in Assassination Classroom, Kensei in Bleach, and Gintoki in Gintama. I don't know who any of those are except for Chrom and Kaz.
Yeah. That's okay, somebody knows.
And then we've got the cat, Morgana, who goes by the codename Mona. Morgana is played by Ikue Otani, the voice of Pikachu.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I did not recognize her as Pikachu at all in this.
No.
We've talked about her before. She's great.
She's Pikachu.
Yeah, she's good. Pikachu has, I think, one of the best voices of, like, any mascot character.
It's pretty good. Pretty noticeable.
Yeah, Pikachu wouldn't be so beloved if his voice wasn't so cute, I don't think. It's like him and Kirby have two of the cutest voices.
That's true. If they went in like a Meowth direction, I don't know if people would like Pikachu so much.
Yeah, I do love Meowth. Like I said before, Life Will Change starts playing. That's basically like the opening theme that we get here. Also one of my favorite songs from the game. And their cat turns into a bus.
Yeah. I've seen My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah, funnily enough, that is the canonical explanation for this.
The movie My Neighbor Totoro?
Yes. So Morgana, while they're in Mementos, Morgana is able to transform into a bus because the collective unconscious has a strong association of cats being able to turn into buses.
Good.
And they don't directly say that it's because of My Neighbor Totoro. They're just like, I don't know why, but for some reason people are really accepting of the idea of a cat becoming a bus. And like, it's very clearly lampshading the fact that it's because of My Neighbor Totoro. I love it. I love that that's the canonical explanation.
Yeah.
So they drive off down the railway tracks in their cat bus, and we go to a chat show on TV where the hosts are asking Goro Akechi, the teen ace detective, his opinion on the Phantom Thieves.
Is he going to be the next Ace Attorney?
Yeah, maybe. He says that if the Phantom Thieves exist, they should be brought to justice because changing hearts the way they do isn't right, in his opinion. This is direct from the game. You actually watch this interview in the game. I can't remember if this is because you go on a school trip to the TV studio and you watch Akechi being interviewed. I can't remember if this is the interview that you're in the audience for, or if this is another one that you just watch on TV later, because you see him get interviewed on this show quite a few times over the course of the game.
Don't they have any other guests? Shouldn't he be detecting things?
They do have other guests, but you don't watch the show unless Akechi's on. You're really just interested in what Akechi's up to.
I guess.
Akechi is played by Soichiro Hoshi, who we've talked about a couple times, because he is also the voice of Keiichi in Higurashi.
Hey, I know him.
Yeah, and he also played Masashi in Two Heart. Remember Two Heart?
I do.
That was a while ago. That was Valentine's.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
No, that was the least pornographic show we've watched on Valentine's so far.
I think about that show every day when I'm too exhausted to exist. That was his whole shtick.
I forgot that was his entire personality. His entire personality was, I want to go to bed.
I'm tired of being awake. Put me back in my bed. That's me every day.
Yeah, it is. That's what I always hear from you. It turns out that we're watching this interview on the phone of a couple who are locked outside their house, and the lead burglar from earlier in the cold open is opening the door for them because he's a locksmith, I guess. This is stuff that we don't see in the game. Like all of this stuff with Maki, as they call him. In the game, you only see him when you fight him,
Okay.
and that's it. So all these other scenes with him aren't present in the game, which is a pretty decent chunk of the episode.
Yeah.
Maki is played by Ryota Osaka, who we've also talked about before, because he was Cheval in Monster Hunter Stories,
Oh, yeah.
and he was Mikleo in Tales of Zestiria as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those guys.
I was thinking about that show the other day because I was like, what was the name of that one show?
Tales of Zestiria?
Yeah.
Yeah. It did make me want to play the game, but I sure didn't play the game after we watched it.
Good job.
I need to finish Tales of Symphonia. That's the one I have already dedicated hours to.
Do you still have the save data?
Oh, yeah. I've still got my GameCube memory card.
Okay.
But I will probably start it again. Because I don't remember everything that happened.
I know. I'm at such a crossroads. I keep thinking about Omori lately, and I really want to finish it, but I'm like, I don't remember how to battle, and I'm at a boss fight. That's when my game crashed.
Right. That's always the struggle, isn't it? If you don't jump straight back in, you've got to relearn the whole game.
Yeah, but I'm too far in to just start from the beginning. I'm like at the end.
Well, you know what sometimes I find works is if you just like play the beginning of the game enough to get a feel for the battles again and then jump back to your saved game.
Maybe.
I find that's usually a good way when you're in that situation.
Yeah.
So Maki receives some texts from his friends saying that they found a new target because they've been robbing restaurants in Shibuya at night.
I think you mean to say restaurant.
You've been watching too much Gordon Ramsay.
You've been making me watch too much Gordon Ramsay.
And we're gonna watch more.
Gordon Ramsay.
So as they're breaking into this new target that they've found, the two older members of the gang find a business card belonging to the security company that they work for inside the restaurant they're robbing. And they comment that this wouldn't be happening if the place had just paid for the security system.
Yeah, it would have.
They raid the place. They don't just take the money. They take beer. They take food. They took some, vacuum sealed meat.
I mean, when you think about it, that's where the real money's at.
Yeah.
They take cases of beer, and that meat, it's vacuum sealed and ready to go. That's gonna save them some money.
That's true. They could resell it, or they could just live on it.
Resell the meat.
Yeah.
The black meat market.
Don't pretend you don't know. You've never been down the back streets, had somebody trying to hawk a sausage.
Don't ask where I got it from.
That would be the quickest way to make sure that I am not buying food from you.
What, a man in a trench coat approaching you with meat in his pockets isn't enough of a red flag?
Is this meat locally sourced? Can you trace it back to the original farm? Buddy, listen. It's not that kind of business.
I can't even trace it back to the store it came from. Do you want your bologna or not, kid?
I got a full case of Bologna.
Single slice.
So, the gang celebrate their raid by drinking the Coronas they just stole. I love how Japanese stuff will just use real brands.
I think they've kind of skittered around it by making that's not the actual Corona logo, is it? Because it looked like they kind of fancied up the A.
I thought it was. I don't know.
Maybe.
I thought it was just a straight up Corona.
I think they fancied up the A to make it look like a different letter, slightly.
Slightly.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't drink that piss.
Enough that I glanced at it and I was like, yeah, that's Corona.
Well, it's like how they have Whack-Donalds.
That's true.
It's a real brand, but they just kind of change it slightly. Be like, no. That's not a real thing. That's Whack-Donalds.
Was Mario Kart 64 had all those slightly altered real brands in it, and then they took them all out for the English version. And Shenmue did the same thing. It had a ton of real brands, but then for the English version, they all got replaced with Sega.
Okay, they're clearly drinking Kerangs, not Coronas, okay. Mike.
Well, is it Kerang because they just misprinted it? It still looks like Corona to me. No, you're right. You're right.
Corona.
You're right. But it's so clear what they're going for, though, right?
It's a Corona.
Yeah, it's a Corona.
The coloring, the text, it's just spelled differently, but it's a Corona.
Yeah. I honestly didn't even notice it wasn't. I just assumed that was the real logo.
I was staring at it the whole time. I was like, there's no way. There's no way that that's just a Corona.
I wouldn't have questioned it because Digimon has the actual Coca-Cola logo in it. So I don't know. Oh, we're probably going to watch that episode of Digimon now and you're going to be like, Mike, that says Coca-Conga.
Probably. You just got thrown off because the branding looks correct.
Yeah, because it looks right. So yeah, we've got this. They're hanging out in this public park in Shibuya, drinking their stolen goods and loudly discussing their scheme.
That's just a theme of this show.
Yeah. We've got two members. I think the two oldest members work for a security company. And they use that connection to find places that have lax security. Then this guy, who's the main guy we're following, I guess, works at a locksmith company, so he knows how to pick the locks. I'm unclear on what purpose the other two serve. One of them seems to be the getaway driver, but I don't know why. I don't know what the girl's deal is. What makes her a valuable member of this gang?
I don't know. She's a waitress, so maybe she tries to get information through her job.
Maybe.
But it's not as efficient as the two guys who provide security.
Yeah, she's a waitress at Big Bang Burger, which is an important location in the game that you can go to. I love Big Bang Burger.
You've never eaten there.
I have. I've done all 3 levels of the Big Bang Challenge. Thank you very much. It's one of those things where they give you a huge burger and you have to finish it all in. I think you have 2 hours or something to finish the whole thing, or maybe it's just
like
1
a
hour.
quick time event?
No, it's based on your social stats.
Okay.
So I think in order to finish the entire meal, you need to have high proficiency, knowledge.
Proficiency in burger?
Yeah, well, proficiency is just general proficiency in everything.
Knowledge of burger?
Yeah, proficiency, knowledge, and one other thing. I can't think what. But if you even attempt the challenge, then you get a boost to your guts stat. And if you complete the challenge successfully, you get a boost to your charm stat as well.
Charm? Well, did you hear that I completed the Big Bang Challenge?
Well, yeah, because while you're doing it, all the other people in the restaurant watch. They all just sit and stare at you, and then when you're done, they
you're
comment.
Guy Fieri shoveling garbage into your face.
Yeah, because they make a big deal of it when they bring it out. They're like, "He's attempting the challenge, everybody!" So then everybody watches.
I want that sweaty, spiky-haired man's hands all over me.
Well, charm isn't just... I mean, it is how attractive you are, but it's also just how much people like you, I guess. The oldest guy, I think, is... Okay, I'm going to say right now, I had a hard time finding out the names of these gang members. Most of them aren't said at any point in here. I think the oldest guy is Hashiguchi, which, if so, he's played by Shunsuke Sakuya, who plays Kashiwagi in the Yakuza series. He was the voice of Simon Blackwell in Ace Attorney.
I know him.
He's Ishikawa in Ghost in the Shell. And he's also the Japanese voice of Alan Wake.
I know him.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why I said it. Osako, I'm thinking, is the other security guy, but I'm not 100% on that. But he is played by Kenichiro Matsuda, who played Bato in Ghost in the Shell and Bond Forger in Spy X Family. I don't know any of that.
No.
And Hina, I think, is probably the girl in the gang and is played by Hisako Kanemoto, who is the voice of Squid Girl and is also the current voice of Sailor Mercury.
Could have picked a better sailor, but okay.
Which one is Mercury? I only know which one is Moon.
She's the nerdy one with short blue hair.
Okay. And is Jupiter... Which one's Jupiter?
Jupiter's the tall one with long brown hair and a ponytail and the green skirt.
Okay. Now who's the short hair blonde one?
Short hair blonde one?
Maybe that's not real.
Oh, yes, I know. I'm thinking of the inner one, so I'm like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
That's Sailor Uranus.
Okay.
She's one of the lesbians.
Yeah, that's why I know her, because she's one of the cousins. They were cousins.
Kissing cousins.
Yeah, and then there's the 5th member who I think is the driver. He doesn't really do much other than drive, and I couldn't find any name for him, which meant that I couldn't find any actor for him either. So Maki's walking home dejected. It's pretty clear from his interactions with his gang there that he's not really happy or comfortable with what they're doing at this point. He uses a key to open a desk in his room, but we don't get to see what's inside it.
I'm still unclear what's inside it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we find out. He lies down on his bed looking at his phone and he sees the Phantom Thieves website. So this is a major part of the game, is this website.
This is where I started getting serious Jigoku Shoujo vibes.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It's a anime about there's this website that you can go to. You can only access it at like exactly midnight, and you put in the name of somebody who you wish to be spirited away to hell, but if you do that, then you also damn yourself to hell when you finally die.
Oh,
And so like every episode is about it's showing you the lives of these people and why they've chosen to get rid of the people that they have and the choice that they have to make that they grapple with.
right.
And then they get spirited away by the Hell Girl and her friends.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too surprised if that was a kind of an influence on this, actually.
Yeah.
So the idea of the Phantom Thieves website, the Phantom Aficionado website, it's called in the English version. It's called like the Ask a Thief channel or something in Japanese, I think.
Yeah.
It's a website that was set up by Mishima, who is a character that you help in the first chapter of the game. And he's just basically your original fanboy. He's the first fan that the Phantom Thieves have. So it's a fan-run website. The thieves themselves are not directly involved in this website.
He's your Discord mod.
Yeah,
He's
basically.
a parasocial relationship
yes,
with you.
That's exactly what he is. And it's so fun, like the whole way through the game. He is one of your confidants, but the whole way through the game you are never punished for like keeping him at arm's length, which I did the whole time because it's really funny. So like every time like you bump into someone else when you're with him, and they'll be like, "Oh, who's this?" and you have an option to be like, "He's my friend" or whatever, and you can always just be like, "I don't know who this is." And I think at one point someone says, "Oh, is he your friend?" And you can say, "Friend is a bit much." But yeah, he's basically the incel that you know.
Cool.
But you can turn him around. He does become like a toxic incel at one point. If you can choose to put an end to that. Anyway, he made this website. You're not directly involved with it, but the forum of the website is one of the main places that you check to find subquests to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will post about the whole thing of the game is that you steal the hearts of bad people and turn them into good people, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who is having trouble with someone will post on this forum and be like, "I wish the Phantom Thieves would change this person's heart," and then you can go into Mementos and find that person and change their heart.
Whoops! Turns up you signed them up for the Hellgirl website, and now they're getting ferried off to damnation.
Well, it's whatever works. Yeah, the website also runs public opinion polls, which are shown on the loading screens. So it'll be like, I think at the first poll that runs is, "Do you believe the Phantom Thieves are real?" And like you watch that number slowly crawl up as you do stuff in the game. And then later, once everybody knows that the Phantom Thieves are real, the poll changes to like, "Do you think they're the good guys?" And you watch that number slowly crawl up. And it's fun, it's cool. So Maki writes a request for the thieves to stop his friends, and we see him struggling with whether to post it or not. And then we go over to Shujin Academy, where Joker is daydreaming in class until he gets hit by a piece of chalk thrown by Ushimaru, the social studies teacher. The fact that he got hit by the piece of chalk means that Joker's proficiency stat is low.
I can see you pushing the glasses up your nose.
Yeah, if you have a high enough proficiency stat, you will dodge the chalk and gain some charm.
Wow, the charming chalk dodger.
Because you dodge the chalk and then everyone in the class is like, "Whoa, did you see that?" And your charm stat goes up. It happens this isn't like a one-time event. This is something that can happen like every now and then while you're in class. After school, the thieves meet at their hideout which at this point of the story is the worst hideout they use in the whole game. I was so mad at this.
The school hallway?
No, it's not the school hallway. It's even worse. This is a walkway in Shibuya Station.
That's not a very good hideout, guys.
No, so they get different hideouts at different points of the game. The first hideout you use is the roof of the school building, which is much better.
Yeah.
This is the second hideout because they needed to be closer to Shibuya, but this is the worst one, and I feel like it's the one they used for the longest as well. And like every time through that whole portion of the game, they're standing here chatting loudly about like what they're doing as phantom thieves, and there are always just people walking by, and sometimes there's people standing like right next to them.
Well, it's Japan, so they're like, I don't want to be rude and eavesdrop. I'm just gonna keep moving.
Well, that's something that is kind of addressed because there's a point in the story where you go into Mementos like right from the middle of, I think you're like standing right next to the Hachiko statue and you go into Mementos.
Oh, Hachiko.
They're like, should we, like, won't people notice if we do this? And the explanation is basically, because they're teenagers, everyone is ignoring them.
Yeah.
So that's how they get away with just loudly talking about their plans in the middle of the most crowded station in Japan.
I don't know. I feel like that could go one of two ways, where half the people are ignoring you and half the people you're the only thing they see and hear.
There is a point in the game where you're standing here in the hideout and like an adult approaches you with a police officer and is like, what are you doing loitering here? So I'm like,
exactly.
I'm like, yeah, it's just a bad hideout. That's all. So Yusuke shows up. Yusuke is the one member of this group who doesn't go to the same school as the rest of them. He shows up and tells them about a post he saw on the forum and says he's been looking into it himself. It's been a while since I did this side quest, so I don't remember all the details. I don't think Yusuke is the one who brings the case to you initially. I think they were already trying to find out about it because of the burglaries.
Uh-huh. Burglaries.
Nuclear.
Burgle cut.
Yeah, I don't think Yusuke is the one who brings it to you. I think Yusuke finds out that the burglar's brother goes to his school after you're already trying to find out about it because you're trying to stop the burglaries. In the game, we never see the brother. Like, Yusuke's part of the investigation happens fully off screen for us in the game. He just texts us while we're at school, I think, and is like, hey, by the way. So that night, Joker tails the target, which doesn't happen in the game.
No, you're too busy for that nonsense.
Yeah, I've got video games to play. How am I supposed to beat, what's it called? Starfornius? How am I supposed to beat Starfornius if I'm out following some guy around the town?
I guess you're not.
No. I've got to watch Mouse MD on DVD. It's a show about a mouse doctor.
That just made me think of Detective Kun Kun.
It was Detective Kun Kun.
He's a dog detective in the Rose and Maiden series. And it's a show that one of the dolls is obsessed with.
The DVDs in Persona 5 are great because when you put a DVD on, you hear a little bit of like recording, and they're really funny. There's one, I forget the name of it, but it's a parody of MacGyver. It might be called like Guy Mukver or something. And it's always just like the little bit of each episode you hear is just some guy making something ridiculous to get out of a stupid situation.
There's sulfur leaking from the tank! We need to do something fast!
It's fine. I'll just use this chocolate. See? The acid and the sugar are reacting.
And Mouse MD is about a mouse doctor. There's one that's called like 3038 or something, and it's a really intense drama about an editor who only has so many minutes to finish editing the script he's working on. Yeah, so Joker follows the target to the park that he and his gang hang out at, and he has Morgana listen in on him and his gang as they chat loudly about their plans in the park. I love Morgana, by the way. What did you think of Morgana?
I didn't see a lot of her. It's a talking kitty cat.
It's a him, actually. I thought it was a her at
Oh.
first because he's called Morgana.
Right.
And Mona. But no,
Yeah.
Morgana's a boy.
Okay. Well, I don't dislike him. I just don't really know much about him yet.
Yeah, I think you'll love him when you get to know him. You have to play this game. I know you'll love this game.
It is no longer a choice.
So yeah, the two members of the gang who worked at the security company have apparently lost their jobs. And they say it's because of the painter everyone's raving about. This is a reference to the events of the second main quest, which has just wrapped up in the plot when this is happening. But I like knowing what happens in that quest, I don't see how it could have possibly affected a security company. But
okay.
It doesn't, whatever. Okay, I guess they lost their jobs because Madarame was a crime. Anyway, they leave this vague enough to avoid giving any spoilers, which I think is a good thing. Especially since this released before the game did.
Yeah, I guess that is a good point.
Yeah. So Joker then follows Maki home and glares angrily at his bedroom window, I guess. We find out later why he's doing that, but it was kind of creepy at the time.
Just a little.
As far as I'm aware, there's no part in the game where you actively stalk someone like this, but...
Well, that's no fun. That's why I want to play the game.
Yeah.
It's like Majora's Mask, where I just follow people around and learn their schedules.
Yeah. I want a game like that, where you just learn everybody's schedules.
Just more Majora's Mask.
Yeah, I want Majora's Mask, but bigger.
Yeah. And maybe without a scary moon.
Nah, the scary moon's part of it. But all of that Bomber Notebook stuff is pretty much relegated to Clocktown. Like, all of the people going about their schedules, there's a little bit of it outside of Clocktown, but for the most part, it's all within Clocktown. I would like a game that takes out the Zelda and just focuses in more deeply on the schedule stuff. Which I think that's what the game that got cancelled was going to be. But then when it got cancelled, they just kind of plugged the stuff they had into Majora's Mask. That's why Majora's Mask is so weird, because it's basically Ocarina of Time and some other game that got cancelled combined.
Yeah. Into one of the best games ever.
Yeah. That's why I want more of it. I want more of the stuff that made it unique.
I want more of the creepy stuff.
Yeah, that too. So, the next day, as Yusuke is arriving at the hideout, if you can call it that.
I cannot and will not.
He's walking with some guy. He was walking with this guy before, but they didn't highlight it as much. But it's Naoya, Maki's brother. And when he sees Yusuke approaching his friends, he's like, "Oh, are those your friends? I'll leave then." And he goes away.
I'll just go be sad over here.
It was a little bit strange that Yusuke was like hanging out with somebody that we don't know, because I feel like a big part of Yusuke's story in the game is that he doesn't really have any friends at his school.
Yeah.
I love Yusuke. He's I didn't like him very much in the beginning, but he became one of my favorite characters. And we don't really get to see a lot of what makes him great in this, unfortunately. But he is he is 100% dramatic 1,000% of the time, and it's great and it's really funny. And I was a bit sad that we didn't really get to see him display it in this. He's the drama queen of the team.
Oh, good.
Naoya Makigami is played by Soma Saito, who played Tadashi in Haikyuu. He plays the adult Luke in Professor Layton. You know, the kid that hangs around with him.
Yeah.
He becomes an adult in the later games, and then this guy plays him.
Time passes?
Yeah, well, the later games star Professor Layton's daughter.
I didn't play any of them.
I played like 10 minutes of the first game. That's all I know. He also plays Hermes in Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
Okay.
But he leaves. He's gone. It turns out that he is the brother of Maki, the leader of the.
Spoiler alert!
Do we not know that yet? I feel like Yusuke heavily hints at it when he's talking about how he confirmed the information.
I think it's kept pretty close to the chest until the end, and it's the big reveal.
Oh, is it? Okay. Maybe I'm just thinking of... Because in the game, we already know it at this point. Because Yusuke has texted the information to us. But I guess in this, Yusuke doesn't really reveal it until they're confronting Maki, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the team discusses what to do, and they move ahead with Joker's plan. This doesn't really happen. This whole plan in the game, they discuss doing this plan before they find out who the leader is. Because they're just trying to find out who the leader of the burglary ring is. And that's what this plan is for, so they can try and catch him and find out who it is. But then the plan becomes unnecessary once Yusuke finds out it's the brother of the guy at school, because then Yusuke is able to find out the guy's name.
Right.
Which is all they need.
To write his name in the death note.
Yeah. Kinda. I mean, they need his name to put on the calling card, because none of this works without the calling card. I guess they wanted to show this plan happening just so that more stuff happened in the episode.
Right.
And it was also a fun way to deliver the calling card, I guess. I think in the game, they just give the calling card to the guy's brother. They're like, yeah, give him this.
This is a little suspicious that you're giving me the Phantom Thief's calling card, but okay.
So they head to Big Bang Burger, where the girl in the gang works, and she's there with the oldest member of the gang, who's complaining about how they can't find any new targets since he lost his job. And they overhear Ryuji and Anne loudly discussing a restaurant with lax security and a big stash of savings inside. Which, it's so suspicious. It's a good thing that these gangs members are idiots.
And he kept the money in a sack with a dollar sign on it. Can you believe it?
So the gang that night drive to Yongenjaya, the neighborhood where the player lives in the game. One of them, as they're driving away, one of them talks about how Kanashiro's group have been making Shibuya dangerous lately. That's a vague reference to the next main quest in the game.
Okay.
And then the gang arrive at LeBlanc, the cafe that the player lives above in the game. I love LeBlanc. Such a nice place. You get really attached to it over the course of the game.
Okay, freak.
Because it's your home, because it's where you go every night. And every time you walk in through the door, Sojiro's behind the counter and it goes, oh, you're back.
It's not my home. I sleep in a tent in the desert until a Doshaguma knocks it down.
Oh, it's been my home for the past couple months. So yeah, they find that the door has been left open and they walk in. As they're walking around in the dark, Morgana startles them and alerts the Phantom Thieves upstairs that it's time to enact the plan.
Just to scare them off with a wee-woo siren?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and they talk about how, Anne is like, if they wreck up the place downstairs, won't that cause trouble for the boss? And yeah, that's why they decide not to do this plan in the game. Because they don't want to cause trouble for Sojiro since he is being so nice to them. Sojiro's my favorite character, everybody. I've told you this, Mel, but I'm telling everybody else now. I love Sojiro.
I've read your diary. It's a little weird.
He's so good. He's such a
Mike, he's not real.
Such a
he
good
can't
man.
Reciprocate your feelings.
He's my dad.
AI Sojiro is not real.
He's my father.
It's predictive text, Mike. He's not real. Come back to us.
Yeah, so Joker presses a button to set off an alarm and all the thieves make a run for it. But Maki takes the calling card that was left on the register because it was addressed to him. So the way it works is, in order to change somebody's heart, you have to steal the treasure that represents their heart. But the treasure only materializes if they are panicking, basically, about it being stolen.
Okay.
So you have to send the calling card, and then the calling card will make them panic for like a day, and during that day you have to break into their heart and steal the treasure.
Okay.
It's very cool. Like when it's the major quests, their mind is a palace. It's their mind palace. You're breaking into their mind palace. For the lower level people who aren't as twisted and corrupted, you just find them in Mementos and it's not as big a deal, which is what they do with this guy. But the people who have worse twisted hearts have giant mind palaces that you have to infiltrate and break through all the security. And then once you've secured a route to the treasure, that's when you send the calling card, and then you have one day to go back in, get the treasure, and get it out. And that's when that song plays, the one that played at the very beginning. It's when you go in for the treasure. Such a cool game.
Cool.
I see why it's so popular.
Now it's just making me think of Madoka.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You go into the witch's labyrinth, you defeat the witch, you get the soul gem.
I still haven't seen it. We gotta watch it together.
It's been like 15 years, Mike.
Has it?
It's been 10 for sure. I'm not sure about 15, but at least 10.
I didn't think it was that old.
The show's pretty old.
Oh, yeah, I guess I did know, actually. Because I was at uni. I've been graduated for almost 10 years.
Came out in 2011.
Yeah. That's a while.
Yeah?
It's not 15 years, though. It's like 14.
Oh, whatever.
So as Joker takes down the alarm, Yusuke and Ryuji ask him where he got it from. Because this isn't part of... it's true that this cafe doesn't have an alarm system. They put one up just for this. He says he got it from Iwai, the weapons dealer. He's one of your confidants in the game. He's where you go to buy new weapons and stuff.
And wee-woo sirens.
Well, yeah, I don't think you can buy those in the game. But none of this happened in the game, so whatever. So back at the park, Maki is panicking and washing his face about the Phantom Thieves. Because he never posted to the website in the end. So he doesn't know who ratted them out.
Oh, no.
In Mementos, the Phantom Thieves find Maki's shadow and confront him. This part confused me because it seems like Maki himself gets transported to Mementos for this confrontation.
Yeah.
And then the thieves explain to him where he is, which isn't how it works in the game. Maki shouldn't have any knowledge of what's happening to his shadow in Mementos. And his shadow shouldn't see Mementos as odd. He would just know where he is because he's a shadow. So, but I guess they were trying to explain it to the audience more so than...
This came out before the game, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. This is where it's revealed to us that Maki's real name is Kazuya. And
What a freak!
I thought it seemed a bit weird that his name was a reveal like that. So I looked into it a little bit, and it turns out there is a reason that it was a reveal.
Is it so we couldn't guess the twist when his name was on the card?
No, it's because Naoya and Kazuya are references to the protagonist and his twin brother from the manga adaptation of the first Persona game.
Oh.
The connection doesn't seem to go any deeper than that. It's just the names, but it's a little reference for longtime fans of Persona adaptations in other media, I guess.
So for the 5 people that would understand, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, this was part of the 20th anniversary celebration, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
So the thieves in Mementos read out the full forum post that Naoya left on their website. He asked for help because he knew his brother was committing crimes with his friends, and he was beating Naoya up at home to relieve the stress, which is what Joker was angrily watching through that window when he stalked him.
And he did nothing to stop it until now.
Yeah, well, he's doing something now. The thing is, Joker already has a criminal record, so he has to be very careful about what he does in real life. I'm not kidding. That's real. The reason he's in Tokyo, he's from out further in the country. He's been forced to move to Tokyo because he got expelled from school because he has an assault on his criminal record. And Sojiro agreed to take in this delinquent child. And this only one school in inner city Tokyo that would agree to take him since he's a delinquent. And yeah. So in real life, Joker has to be very careful about what he does and keep his nose clean all the time.
Okay, that does make sense.
Yeah. It's because he came across a woman being sexually assaulted and he helped her, and then the guy who was doing the assault sued him for assaulting him.
Yeah, that sounds like Japan.
Yeah. A lot of this game, it's a lot like Ace Attorney in that a lot of this game is a critique of Japan and the way Japan
the justice
treats...
system.
Not just the justice system, but the way Japan treats its teenagers in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's what most of the major quest lines are about. It's like... I think I was reading something earlier about how all of the major quest lines are actually...
Real life cases.
Yeah, vaguely based on real things that happened.
Yeah, I did know that much.
Oh, okay. Which I is probably a large part of why this game is so popular in Japan as well, especially with teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time I'm playing it, I'm like, yeah, if I was still a teenager, this would, like, probably be seriously helping me escape some things. So Kazuya's shadow refuses to repent and doubles down on everything. And actually, a lot of the speech that he has here is taken straight from the dialogue when you confront him in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And his shadow transforms into a Mithras.
Oh no!
And then summons an Oni and an Onmoraki to fight alongside him.
Oh no!
I'm sure everybody knows what an Oni is.
Yeah.
Do you know what an Onmoraki is?
I don't.
It's the yokai spirit of a carcass.
Oh.
As far as I understand it, it's like the idea of like a yokai that inhabits a dead animal after it dies.
Okay.
And it's commonly depicted as a cooked chicken in popular culture.
Why a cooked chicken?
Because it's funny, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it is here. It's a cooked chicken with a funny head.
With like a weird onion head.
Yeah. So Joker confronts the Shadow, and this is where Last Surprise starts playing, which is the actual battle theme from Persona 5. And it's a really good song. All the music in the game is really good.
You never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done, but the time is hit you. You're not surprised.
And yet it's not the last surprise.
It's not the last surprise. I actually am a little bit less familiar with this song because although it is still in Royal, there's a new battle song that plays whenever you ambush an enemy in Royal, and I almost always ambush an enemy. So I usually hear Take Over, which I also prefer, but maybe I prefer it because I've heard it more often.
Take over, it's time to boogie down. Make over, nothing's gonna take away my life. Was over when it started with that shoe that thought white walking. I'm getting names over.
Joker summons his persona, Arsène, based on Arsène Lupin, the Maurice LeBlanc character. LeBlanc also being the name of the cafe that Joker lives above. I actually didn't understand that. Like, I didn't get that reference until I was doing the research for this. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why the cafe's called LeBlanc. Every one of the Phantom Thieves' personas is based on a famous honorable thief from literature or history.
Oh.
Yeah, it's neat. It's a nice little theme they have running through their personas. So yeah, Arsène is Joker's persona. They also adapt the baton pass mechanic here.
Like in Pokemon?
Yeah, kind of. Do you remember from your time in Persona 4 the one more mechanic?
Girl, that was like 5 years ago.
Okay. Was it that long ago? I feel like it wasn't that long ago that you played it.
Probably at least 4 years, because I was living in the old house.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, now I
Wow.
have to look it up.
I didn't think it was that far back.
Persona. When was the last? Last played June 22nd, 2020.
Wow, okay. Time really flies.
It sure does.
I would have guessed it was like a year ago that I saw you playing it.
Well, I definitely wouldn't have guessed that part, but
No, okay, so in the Persona series, when you hit an enemy with an attack that it's weak to, or if you hit it with a critical hit or something, the enemy will be knocked down, and then if you knocked the enemy down, you get one more, which means you get to go again.
I do think I remember that.
Okay. In Persona 5, they introduced a new feature where if you get one more, you can choose to baton pass your one more to another member of the team. And then they get to go in place of your one more, but they will be powered up for that attack. And then if you get another one more doing that, then you can baton pass again, which will power up the next one even more, and so on.
Oh.
So yeah, it's very cool. If you manage to like knock down 4 enemies and do a full baton pass chain. Also, if you do a full chain, then the final attack in the chain doesn't cost any SP, which is also very useful.
Stash points?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, Joker baton passes to Fox, who summons his persona, Goemon, based on Ishikawa Goemon, a Japanese historical figure who was basically Robin Hood, but for Japan.
Cool.
Yeah, I like Goemon. He's great. The Oni charges at him, and Fox baton passes to Skull, who summons his persona, Captain Kidd, based on the famous pirate. Then Skull baton passes to Panther, who summons her persona, Carmen.
San Diego?
Not San Diego, no. Carmen, based on the femme fatale of the book Carmen by Prosper Mary May. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's French, I think. I think Carmen's most famous for the opera that's based on the book.
Should have been Carmen San Diego.
Should have been.
She's a famous thief.
She is, now that you mention it. Maybe more famous.
Maybe after they saw that masterpiece she made, they're like, no, better not.
You know, I would not be surprised if they wanted this to be Carmen San Diego, but Carmen San Diego isn't public domain yet.
Maybe.
That might be the whole reason. So anyway, Carmen drags Kazuya to the ground, and the Onmoraki gets defeated, and then Panther baton passes to Mona, who summons his persona, Zoro.
I wonder who that's based off of.
Yeah, based on the character created by Johnston McCulley for American pulp magazines, but I think most famous for the TV show that, like, it was black and white, but it was still airing when I was in America in, like, 1998. Every night, we would watch Zorro before bed. Zorro finishes off the Oni, and then Mona baton passes back to Joker, who finishes off Mithras with
a gun.
Yeah. And steals Kazuya's heart. I thought that the end was kind of anticlimactic. I think it would have been cooler if they finished with an all-out attack. I think all-out attacks have been in since Persona 2, if my reading was correct. But basically...
No, we need to know the Jokler is the cool one.
Well, yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, if you, like I said before, if you hit an enemy with an attack that they're weak to, or if you get a critical, you knock them down and you get a one more. If you knock down all of the enemies on the field, then you will enter a hold-up where you can choose either to negotiate with them or perform an all-out attack where every member of your team will attack them all at once. Usually finishing the fight. Depends what you're fighting. And then you get a big splash screen for whichever character initiated the all-out attack. It's very cool. Shame they didn't do that, but okay.
Yeah, I wanted to see a negotiation scene.
By the way, the guns, every character has a gun. They're not real guns, they're model guns. You buy them from an airsoft shop, and the whole thing is, as long as the guns look real enough, when you're in people's minds, they'll just believe it's real. And then your gun will always be loaded at the beginning of every fight because the people you're fighting will expect them to be loaded. It's all just based on cognition. As long as people's cognition matches up, you can do things that they expect you to be able to do.
Is there ever a battle with somebody that knows that it's a fake gun and therefore it doesn't work?
If there is, I haven't come across it yet.
Somebody whose heart is so crooked.
There was a fight against a guy who he was a cheater in video games. He had like hacked video games so he couldn't be hit, and that meant you also couldn't hit him in Mementos.
Did you have to get a Game Shark and cheat yourself?
You have to go to the arcade and get trained by this kid who is like insanely good at. There's this one kid who is so good at games that he could even beat the cheater, and you have to get him to train you.
I think you should dust off the Game Shark.
That would have been fun too.
Plug
Yeah.
plug it into your NES over top of the cartridge.
So yeah, Kazuya is now experiencing his change of heart, as they call it. And because he's experiencing a change of heart, his treasure materializes as the key to his desk drawer. And he asks the Phantom Thieves to give the key to his brother and to tell him to burn or throw out what's inside the drawer. And in the game, I'm pretty sure this is just the end of it. I'm not sure if you even get an update after that. I remember Mona saying that he would slip the key into his brother's room that night, but I don't remember any further updates to this.
So what's the further update? Because I don't understand.
Well, first of all, in the real world, Kazuya breaks down in tears and loudly starts confessing to his crimes. And I loved the reaction of the rest of his gang, where they're all just like, "What's happening? Why are we being turned in by our crying team member all of a sudden?"
Stop looking at us. We didn't do anything.
Back at the Makigami house, Naoya is disinfecting his wounds when he hears a cat, and then on his desk by an open window he finds the key with a note. And in his brother's room he opens the drawer and he finds a photo of himself and his brother plus some third guy who I don't think matters. It's the photo commemorating, I guess, the end of a kendo tournament. And it looks like Naoya won the tournament, and Kazuya, I think, came like second or third.
Second,
okay. And he looks annoyed about it. My assumption is that this was the moment, this was the beginning of the animosity between the two brothers. Is that when Naoya, the younger brother, showed him up in a kendo tournament. He goes into a little more detail in the game when you're talking to him, because he talks about how he is the screw up brother, basically, that
right.
In his mind the parents like Naoya more, and because he's smarter and he's better at everything.
Yeah.
So that I guess that's what this is all about.
It's on screen very briefly. I didn't have time to process what I was looking at.
No, I know. I had to watch it again. Back in Shibuya, the burglars are being arrested, but just before he gets loaded into the police car, Kazuya spots Joko walking away from the crowd. And he seems to recognize him, but also says he's never seen him before. There is no reason that he should recognize him or even think anything of him, because he has absolutely no knowledge of anything that happened in Mementos, or at least he shouldn't have.
His shadow got tickled.
Yeah, it was
by the
his.
Joker.
That was his shadow that they dealt with. Although I think the shadow is aware of what's happening outside of Mementos. I don't think anything that happens inside Mementos affects the conscious person in any way. Or, well, no, it does, but not in a way that they're conscious of, Because there are some times where small actions you take inside somebody's mind palace will have subtle effects on the way they're behaving in the real world. But it's not conscious. It's, because you're tickling their mind.
You're tickling their shadow.
Tickling their shadow. Also nearby, we see Akechi watching thoughtfully. Akechi is so barely in this, but he's a huge part of the game. I'm sure that's obvious.
Yeah, I don't think they would have included him at all if that weren't the case.
Yeah. As he walks away, Joker opens up the Nav app again and meets up with his team in the cognitive world.
I want to know what the Bunny app is on his phone.
Yeah, no idea. That's probably his favorite puzzle game.
It's one of those stupid mobile games where it's like an auto runner, but you have to pick the bigger number.
Yeah. So the Metaverse Nav app is something that just mysteriously ends up on the phones of the protagonists, and they don't know how they got it. At the beginning of the game, you actually attempt to delete it several times, and it keeps coming back.
Ransomware.
Yeah. I don't know if it gets explained, but it hasn't been explained at the point I'm up to, at least. The Phantom Thieves meet up in the metaverse, and then the camera pulls back to reveal Kanashiro's palace in the sky above Shibuya, and money raining down everywhere, and a lot of ATM people walking around.
I wonder what that could mean.
That is the third of the main quests that they're about to take on. So that's the end. Oh no, wait, it's not
Hooray.
quite the end. I forgot.
Oh, goddamn.
Because now we go into a first-person view from the player's POV in their cell in the Velvet Room, where Igor tells us that this has been a vision of a possible future. Igor is played by Masane Tsukayama, known for playing Gold Roger in One Piece, and Zoken Mato in Fate Stay Night. He's also the Japanese dub voice for Liam Neeson, Robert De Niro, and Kevin Costner.
Cool.
Igor is a mainstay of the Persona series. He's appeared as a guide for the player in every Persona game, but I think only the Persona games.
I guess that's why he looks familiar.
Yeah, you will have met him in 4. The Velvet Room is the space that exists in between the real world and the world of the mind. It's the place that you go to manage your personas, and Igor's in there guiding you.
Do you think Red Glasses is in the Velvet Room?
Yes! This is a reference to our episode on, what was the name of that show? Prism Hearts Princess. I don't know.
We're good at our job.
Was it Pretty Rhythm?
Yeah, Pretty Rhythm Aurora Dream or something.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. A patron-sponsored episode that we forgot the name of.
Listen, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe that was the Velvet Room. I think the Velvet Room changes appearance based on the cognition of the person entering it. So I think it appears as a prison for Joker because of his whole, wrongful assault charge and everything.
Right.
I think I read that in Persona 4 it's a limousine.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I could be wrong about that. That could have been Persona 3 for all I know. But anyway, Igor asks the prisoner for their name, and right before they answer, we cut to the credits. Because in the game, you put your own name in. He doesn't have I think he does have a canonical name, but the game doesn't give him one. It doesn't even have a don't care option. You have to put something in. My Joker's name is Stank Nicely.
Stank Nicely.
Yeah.
You didn't even name him after world famous thief P.P. LaRue?
No, I didn't want to take the name you were going to use.
That's the dumb name that I use for every thief for no reason.
That's not true. Sometimes you use Robin Graves.
Yeah, but that's not for a thief.
It's clearly
LaRue
a thief name.
Is a thief.
I don't know. Robin Graves sounds like a thief to me.
Robin Graves has been a monster hunter, has been a Pokemon trainer.
And which of those wasn't a thief? Come on.
I never stole a Pokemon. This isn't XD Gale of Darkness. I found those fair and square.
All right. If you say so. You stole them from the wild.
They wanted to be caught. Also, what about the ones that I bred? In captivity.
You stole them from the womb. So over the credits, it plays Wake Up, Get Out There by Lin, which is the main theme of the game.
Wake up there. Raise your voice against liars. Feed your anger like fire. Why does nobody want you?
Lin does all the songs in the game, and they're all great. And that's the end.
Cool.
What did you think?
It's fine. It's fine at getting you interested in the world and the game.
Right, so that's what I was curious about, because clearly the purpose of this is to entice you to play if you don't know anything about it. So did it entice you?
Well, I've already been interested in the game since before this.
Well,
I just don't.
But did this make you go, "Oh yeah, I like that"?
I wouldn't say it made me any more interested than I already was.
Okay. Yeah, it was interesting to me in a way that a lot of these aren't, which was good, specifically because this was showing us things that we didn't get to see in the game.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I wish more of these things would do stuff like that. Like, I know there are later Ace Attorney episodes that are their own standalone things that are only in the show. And I want to watch some of those because that I'm more interested in. But in general, I know I've talked to Joe about the Persona 5 anime proper, the one that was made a couple years after this, because he's watched it. And he said that he didn't find it very interesting because it just follows the events of the game that he had already seen.
Right.
So that, I think, is going to be more of a drier experience. But this, I thought, was good. The one complaint I think I have with this is that I don't think it does justice to the look of the game. This doesn't look bad, but the visuals don't pop in the way that the game's visuals do, you know?
Right.
They try to adapt some of the game's visuals. There are, when the baton passes are happening during the fight, it goes to a like stylized look for a little bit. That's obviously trying to like evoke the way the game looks, but it's not as bold and snappy as it is in the game, which is a shame.
I mean, it's a 24-minute commercial, so.
I know. But, you know, you can do those visuals in 2 seconds.
Okay, then you gotta do them in 2 seconds.
I mean 2 seconds of footage, not 2 seconds of work. Yeah, it's a beautiful game, and I don't think this was quite as beautiful as the game is. Which isn't to say it looks bad, but, you know, the game is just so beautiful.
Okay, jerk it off a little harder, why don't you? Get it to completion.
What's your problem?
It's funny. It's funny bullying you for being a nerd loser.
You're a nerd loser. I don't think there's any legacy here before you ask. I don't think this did anything that carried over. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I've been streaming this game, by the way. I'm almost at the end. As of this recording, I thought I was at the last boss, but I don't think it actually is the last boss. But I will be continuing to stream it, probably. So come join me at Skull Pirate Mike on twitch.tv/SkullPirateMike. If you'd like to support this show, you can head to our Patreon at patreon.com/SuperBreakfastFriendsClub, where if you join our higher tier, you can demand that we watch stuff.
You could make us go back to Pretty Rhythm.
That you are targeting a very specific person with that comment.
That's not my intent. It's a callback.
Thank you to our patron contributors, Jamie Core and Mark Kelly.
Thanks, friends.
Go join them if you wanna. Otherwise, you could just like and subscribe and tell a friend and write a review and leave every star on our website.
And write your local representative.
That's right.
Just see what they're up to.
Yeah.
Hey.
Have we said all the things we need to?
I hope so. This has been almost 2 fucking hours.
Bye. I thought I was going to burp, but I didn't.
I'm sorry.